Good morning. Welcome to Havering Means Business Morning Commute. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a lovely, I've just realised it's Friday the 13th. I'm Chris Dames. I'm one of the founders of Havering Means Business and Savello. We've got a couple of people joined us already at this hour of the morning. So I'm going to let both Ross and Julie, Raz has done it already because he's super efficient, to have a chat about business. Just a quick one, if you're watching us live on Facebook, and if you look above where the video is playing, there's a link. And if you'd like to join us for to talk business as part of the morning commute, all you need to do is click the link, password's there as well, and you'd be more than welcome to join us for a bit of a chat about business. So let's see who we've got here. Julie, how are you? Oh, I can see Ross. I can't see Julie. How you doing, Julie?
Yeah, no, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I've realised that I'm in my home office, and I should have come down and turn the heating on a little bit before I was in here, because I'm now absolutely freezing for at least 10 minutes. But I'm hoping it'll warm up by the time I get going. But yeah.
Okay, lesson learned.
Yeah, lesson learned. What's your day looking like today? What have you got on?
Yeah, busy. I've had a busy week. It's been good.
Tell me about it.
Quite chuffed actually. Start of the week, I decided I did a balloon course, and this might sound, everyone says, oh God, you know, gonna go and make toys, dogs and things like that. But I thought, been thinking for a while, it's a nice add-on for Flower Shed.
Yeah.
But didn't quite realise that there was an association of balloon people.
Amazing.
And so I joined there and yeah, started my course. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how that side goes as well as the flowers.
And what?
Flowers have been bad.
And is that for parties? You know, what's the market you're thinking about?
I get a lot of requests for newborn babies and bits and pieces like that. So especially Valentine's Day is a big one. Do you do balloons?
Yeah.
Things like that. It's not necessarily that that's what my business is going to be, but it's a nice add-on that I can use.
And I know you were talking about last week. You were talking about your courses.
Mm-hmm.
Have you given that any more thought?
Yep. And I went to the wholesalers yesterday because I've got yesterday and today to start filming. And I went yesterday, and I think because of COVID and because of the new lockdown, we're not getting our Christmas foliage until next week, Julie. And I was like, damn.
So it's going to be next week now.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because it's usually in by now. So.
When in your house, I mean, I typically start Christmas in my own head at the start of December, right? But my girls, so I've got two daughters. My daughters are 16 and 8, and my wife Cassie, who's involved actively in the group, stuff like that. They've started already. I mean, it's Christmas movies. It's like every time I come in, it's on the Alexa, like the hot Christmas. Like I can't get away from it. When does the demand start for Christmas for you?
This year it started earlier.
Okay.
I've noticed an increase of people asking for bits and pieces, sort of beginning of November.
Okay.
But can we order this for the 1st of December? Can we have this for the 1st of December? So yeah. My husband thinks about Christmas 23rd, maybe.
It's probably only about 12 hours in front of me, to be honest. I mean, it's like I just worry about it when it comes. Great stuff, Julie. We'll chat later on, and we'll make sure we come back to you. Ross, how you doing, mate?
I'm well, thank you. Yes. Hello, everybody.
Good. Hi. How you doing? We only spoke yesterday, didn't we? So I mean, let's not make it a daily thing, mate. We've both got other stuff to do. But no, it's great to see you again. So I know we had a chat about the Havering Daily. Can you just share with the guys on the live and the guys actually on the Zoom call a little bit more about what you're doing over there?
Yeah, so we are a online local newspaper for the borough. We pride ourselves on being a platform for the whole community. We give everybody the same opportunities when it comes to contributing, and the idea behind the Havering Daily is to really help boost the borough, support local business, raise the spotlight on local campaigns and charities if we can. But obviously, we are a business, and the way we make our money is through advertising. So for local businesses, actually last night on the Facebook group, Chris, I don't know if you see, but we're running a contest for the week. Local businesses can submit their details, and then next Friday I'll be picking a random person from the list.
Okay.
And they will be able to get 2 months free advertising for us.
Amazing, good stuff.
Yeah, great opportunity for local businesses to we get a lot of traffic from the borough and beyond. So it's a great place to advertise. And so if you're interested, guys, either go to the haveringdaily.co.uk or check out Havering Means Business Facebook page, and there's a link on there.
And talk to me a little bit about sort of the stories that have been pertinent over the last couple of weeks.
Right, okay. So, I guess I could talk about one that's actually, we got some details on yesterday. We got some good news on yesterday, and we've done a follow-up article today, actually, and it's around a particular individual who was torturing animals.
No.
Killing animals, and we've had people across the borough that have come to us and said, we found our cat, we found our animal, and he'd been tortured, and the police had rung us, and because we'd been inquiring about this quite a lot, the police rung us and informed us that they'd actually caught somebody.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so that's that kind of story, which is.
But I suppose that's the benefit of having a community paper, isn't it? You can do stuff that's happening locally and actually engender positive change because you're getting the community together to do it.
Yeah, we actually have. We've actually achieved. The list is getting really long, but the amount of problems we've been able to help to solve for the community, because we have to have good ties with the community, the council, the police. We're actually can act as the middleman, introduce people. We've been able to help a lot of people, so it's something we're really proud of.
Amazing work, great stuff. Andrew, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, not bad, thanks, Chris.
Good to see you. Again, I did put it on the group, but thank you for sorting out the Wi-Fi in my home office. I've got to be honest. So Andrew's my IT guy. He helps Savello and me personally out with everything I need. I did start to use it on Monday, but not before Cassie used it for a gym session. So I was like, I know where my priorities lie. Do you know what I mean? I'm definitely second in using my own office.
Absolutely.
Tell us a bit about you and your business.
Yeah, well, as Chris said, we do IT support for local businesses and home users alike. We also do telecoms as well, so we can provide voice over IP systems, mobile SIM cards, broadband connections. So the way that people ask me what you cover, I said if it plugs into a computer, we pretty much support it. So that's what we do.
Yeah, good stuff. And what's keeping you busy at the minute?
Quite a few inquiries for Christmas for gaming PCs and stuff like that. So I'm getting quite a few inquiries about that. And just generally day-to-day repairs and stuff like that. So,
yeah. So the other thing is as well, I'm not going to be buying a PS5 for Christmas, right? because I think I always wait. What are your thoughts on like the new sort of tranche of consoles? Do you reckon they're like a step above or?
I brought an Xbox One and I use it rarely. The kids use it more than I do. So I'll wait. I'll wait till the price drops a bit. I'm not overly fussed about brand new gaming consoles like I used to.
Me neither.
The most enjoyment out of a console I got was the original Xbox.
Yeah. Well, I'll go back to the Commodore 64. I mean, I'm showing my age now, Andrew.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, my earliest computer that I can remember was a Commodore 16+4.
It's not a competition, mate. All right, you are. I think we're a similar sort of age, actually. So yeah, that's all good. Phil, how you doing?
Yeah, doing really well, thanks.
What was your first computer?
My first computer was, well, funny, it was the original Game Boy and the original Nintendo. So the NES.
Oh, amazing.
So yeah, so I was a Nintendo guy.
Yeah, I've always been a PlayStation guy, to be honest. That's my sort of my route to gaming, and it's weird because I mean, I'm probably the first generation as a 43-year-old man. I still like computer games. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like sort of. Yeah,
I'm just saying we've got an Xbox One, but now the boys have gone and got a Switch. So now it's they're playing Pokemon on their Switch and all that all the time. So
how old are your boys?
6 and 4. So
Okay.
the youngest started school this year. So strange time for him to be starting school, but yeah.
How's it getting on?
Yeah, after the initial the first day was a bit difficult for him, as in the very initial sort of going in, but yeah, he's really taking to it like a duck to water. So it's really encouraging to see.
And what's lockdown part 1 been like with 2 young boys?
I see you laughing already.
I saw I could have half guessed the answer, mate. I mean, I've got an 8-year-old in my house. It's mayhem with one.
Yeah, you know what? I think it started out, and you kind of start out with all your sort of your kind of the best intentions, and you're gonna, right, we've got this is what we can do, this on this day, that on that day, and then but I think quite quickly you realise that it's actually you do what makes sense, and you got to be practical in terms of.
You know what? It's funny. I'll post it on the group. So for the financial planning business, we do a weekly Facebook live show called Cervello Live, and we started it during lockdown because we thought actually to get really good quality financial information out there is probably useful at this time, and we've continued it on. So when we were looking at who to invite on, we're quite lucky in terms of having a really good network of people we can think actually they're going to add real value. But in week 2 of lockdown, I realised that I was probably the worst homeschooler ever, and I needed help, right? And I just needed somebody to help me with this. So thankfully, we know a lady who was the financial education teacher of the year. She won awards for it last year. And I said, look, come on, because I think teaching kids about money would be a good thing to talk about. But if I'm being perfectly frank, I'm going to pick your brains about homeschooling because I need the help. And her biggest tip, and I'll share the video on the group because I think it might be useful for everybody, but her biggest tip was don't be too hard on yourself. Like everybody's trying to work out what we're doing, and we're all trying to sort of get through it, aren't we?
Yeah, and don't be too hard on yourself, but don't be too hard on them either.
And that was my problem. My problem was that I was trying to get Sophie to do like 5 hours a day, and there's just no way that's going to happen.
Yeah, we sort of went down the line of we're doing all the schoolwork that we were that we kind of the stuff that we all set, but at the same time, like, okay, well, we don't all have to do there. It doesn't have to be all structured learning in that sense. You'll see if you're going to be doing the reading, you can do reading at any point. It doesn't have to be part of a home learning sit down. Right, we're going to do this now. As long as you kind of got through it, it's sort of you kind of got there in the end. So yeah, we just had to sort of rather than the last homeschool lasting 1 week, we had to make sure that it lasted.
It stretches, yeah, exactly, yeah, spot on. And I know that you've been running your courses this week, your online fitness boot camps. How long have they been going?
Yeah, really well actually. So I said we went online. Obviously, as I said last week, the launch was supposed to be on the 7th outdoors. So obviously, lockdown sort of kiboshed that one. And then yeah, so I so fortunately managed to get everything sort of integrated to go online with my booking system and everything else last week. And I did a test run last week, which went really well, and the feedback was really good. So yeah, we went live on Tuesday for the sort of the 4 online classes. So we're doing one in the morning, one in the evening. So Tuesdays and Thursdays. And yeah, so we've had people on all of the sessions. So and they've had kind of got a good workout. The feedback's been really good. So yeah, it's as much about providing a community for people during lockdown as well. It is getting a good workout. It's as much about giving an outlet to everybody else.
And it's an interesting one because sort of, I mean, the gym that I'm a member of, which is in Hornchurch, have been really good about doing sort of Zoom sessions and doing stuff to keep people active. But a lot of the more conventional gyms have been a bit behind the curve, right?
Well, it seems so. Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. I'm part of kind of sort of a community gym as well. So it's quite small. It's within the community and and stuff. But yeah, they've been really good. Their communication has been great, and I think they're obviously they're in a situation where they're part of the community as well. So the community obviously want to support them, and obviously they want to do whatever they can. They still want to get their workouts in, and the gym understands that. So they're trying to keep people active, because they know that obviously keeping active, keeping people physical, focused on something is actually going to be really helpful for them.
Yeah, spot on. Julie, help me. Have you got kids?
Yeah. But
how old are yours?
I've got a daughter of 25 and my son's coming up to 23.
Okay, so you've had no issues with that in lockdown, haven't you?
No issues at all with home tutoring.
Yes. And are they still with you, or are they living independently?
Yeah, no. My daughter Paige, she's got learning. I hate the word difficulties, but she's got extra traits, which are great. So she'll always be with us. And then my son, he's 23, just misses the pub.
Yeah, so his lockdown's been a nightmare, right?
Yeah. When can we go back? I'm bored.
That's fair enough. So has it been, because one of the things that, like, I suppose we've all got to cope with is like that feeling of claustrophobia a bit. Has it felt a bit more sort of, because you haven't got the freedom?
I thought Paige and Dean are polar different kids. Yeah. Paige is really quiet, but Dean's really loud and loves that social bubble. Right. And yeah, he's missed his little group of friends, and they were all together, and now they're all not, and that's been really difficult. When it first kicked off back in March, he said, right, this is going to drive me mad. I'm going to go for a run, because he was on furlough. I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go out on my bike. But the second one is kind of, not.
It's a bit more difficult.
And a lot of the boys, their mental health has suffered, and this is why we say to them, keep fit, keep doing it, play football. He plays football with them, but now they've all closed. Phil will notice it. It's good for mental health, good for mindfulness.
I'm 100% with you on that, Julie, because I think, like, sort of going out for a run is just a release, isn't it? It allows you to just sort of go out and get something physical. Yeah. I want to sort of go around the room and ask a couple of questions that I'm curious about at the minute. So I'll come back to that. But if you're watching on Zoom and you'd like to join us, I know that we've got a few live viewers at the minute. If you're on Zoom and you'd like to join us, feel free. The link's above. Just jump on the Zoom, and we've got the password there as well. So feel free to jump on and tell us about your business. Tell us about what's going on in your world at the minute. and go from there. I've got a couple of questions that I want to ask, but Phil, before we do that, what's your biggest tips for kids to stay fit? So obviously Julie's are adults now, so we don't need to worry about it too much. But if you've got like kids between 5 and 12, what tips would you share to make sure that they were keeping fit, particularly during lockdown?
Well, I said, I think obviously when we think about it as adults, obviously we think about it as fitness. We think about it as, you know, structured exercise. Whereas when you're talking, especially kind of younger kids, I guess the 5,
it's play, isn't it?
It's play, and it's actually more about being active. So it's not about kind of drilling your kids at home to do circuits. But
right, come on, get down and give me 10 burpees.
Exactly,
I mean,
but you know,
right, Phil, when your boot camp opens, I'm going to remember that, right? So when I come along, when you do the one at the airfield, and you say get down and give me 10 burpees, I'm going to go, Phil, I'm only here to play. All right?
I'm only here to play. It's not fun. I'm not doing them. But,
so yeah, it's that sense of fun you've got to keep.
Yeah, and
right?
The thing is, the thing, especially when obviously you're talking kids, is actually actually a really great way of doing something as a family together. If it's just going out and walking, or if you look at sort of PE with Joe Wicks, it's why it was so successful, because everyone they knew that they were going to do something together. They were going to have fun with it. It didn't really matter whether they were doing loads and loads and loads of it, or they were just kind of dipping their toe in the water. It's something that they could do together and have fun with, and they all kind of look forward to it. So yeah, I'd say keep it simple. Right. Yeah, keep it simple, keep it playful, make sure it's something that you can all do together.
I've threatened to because we raise a bit of money for St Francis Hospice. I actually did the virtual marathon a couple of months ago for St Francis, and I've got this idea of doing when lockdown's all over, doing a like playground game style event, but for adults, right? So not knockdown, Ginger. We're definitely not doing that one. But sort of like run outs. And do you remember how fun run outs was?
Yeah.
Amazing, wasn't it? It was like or British Bulldog. I mean, that we've got to be careful with that one. Health and safety.
Make sure you're on soft grass for that one.
But yeah, no, I like the idea of that. Right, so a couple of things that I'm super curious about at the minute. One of the questions that came up on the group this week was about the attributes you need to be a business owner. And I know there was a bit of a conversation about that, but I'm curious about what you think. So let's start with Julie. Julie, what do you think you need to be a business owner?
Right.
Apart from patience.
Oh, crumbs. You have to want it. It's so easy. It's so easy to work for someone. And everyone that thinks, oh, you've got your own business, oh, you're rolling in it. There's a misconception, I think, that people don't realise. So you've really got to want it. It's got to be, you've got to have that fire somewhere within you.
And what's the drive then? So what's the drive for you to want it?
For me, it's to be financially independent.
Yeah.
I love my husband, and he can earn way more than me. He's a painter and decorator, and he's been going for years and years and years. But I rely on him. And as a female, and I can say this, I just want to be financially independent.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, it's that independence, isn't it?
Yeah, I still think there's a barrier between men and women in the world.
I think there is.
Business-wise, I do.
Yeah.
And that's probably, for me, that's a block in my brain, not necessarily a block in the gents.
Yeah. And you need to want it. What skills do you think you need?
Wow. Well, you need a lot of skills, don't you, if you're going to be a sole trader and start from scratch, don't you? Communication, that's probably the one up there. If you haven't got communication, then yeah, go and be employed by someone.
100%. Right, Andrew, talk to me about what you think it takes to be a business owner.
Well, the biggest one at the moment is the ability to adapt. I mentioned this on the group as well, but with the way things are at the moment, where things are changing so rapidly, it's the ability to adapt with, what the current rules are and how often they change, and that is kind of key to adapt to them changes quickly.
Yeah, no, that's good. So what adaptations have you had to make?
In the first lockdown, it was kind of, cleaning everything as it came in, so it was being sterilised with 90% IPA, and making sure that, using hand sanitizer quite a lot, which is a big one. But there wasn't too much, to be honest, other than just wiping down the devices with IPA. That was really the only major thing that I had to do. And then, I'd set up a little cleaning station by my front door. So as the devices came in, I cleaned them down and then moved them into the workshop.
Not anymore, mate, because you're in your new offices now, aren't you?
Absolutely, yeah. Just before the lockdown kicked in, we signed a lease for an office, and this is where I am at the moment. So it's proving good. So yeah.
But that I think you're right. I think you just never stop evolving and adapting as a business owner, because
always change.
Yeah, I mean we're sort of 10, 11 years in. And I think I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I think resilience is one of them, because I was saying to somebody yesterday, somebody we're doing some seminars with next year. I think the first 2 years, and again we're 10 years in now, I probably got to a point where I almost gave up and went and got a job, as Judy said, about 7 or 8 times. It was that like sort of resilience, that's thinking, right, how do I get to the point where it becomes something a bit better? I think now I'm probably unemployable. So I'll just carry on doing this, whatever this is. Ross, what do you think you need to be a business owner?
You need to set yourself goals. You need to be good at planning. You need to be a good communicator, like Julie said. You need to be able to work with people.
Yeah.
But as well, I think one of the skills is time management. I mean, a lot of us there's jobs where, if we don't do it, it just won't get done. So we're robbing ourselves if we don't focus on them. But it's about actually, like we had the conversation yesterday. I work a lot, and but I still manage my time well,
Yeah. Do you think part of it is, and again, I'd be interested in what everybody else thinks. Sandra, I can see you've joined. Hello, how you doing? I'll come and say hello in a minute. But
don't worry, thank you.
Do you think that enjoying what you do is an important part, because you're in a position where you're spending so much time doing it? What do you think?
I think this comes down to setting goals. I mean, the journey to somewhere isn't always great and isn't always smooth. But if you keep focused on what you're trying to achieve, you know that it's all worth it. It's when you lose sight of what you could achieve that then you start focusing on actually how do I feel right now? Like, can I be bothered to do this? Is this too much? Am I, so it could be really easy to give up, couldn't it? But if you actually stay focused on your goal.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of I've got a bit of an interest in amateur interest in psychology, and there's a really and it fits into what we do for a living as well, but there's a really great experiment they did in the 60s called the marshmallow experiment. Have you ever heard about that?
I haven't, no.
So what they did is they got these 5 and 6 year olds in a room, and they said, here's a marshmallow. And if you eat that marshmallow, that's fine. But we're gonna leave the room, and if you don't eat that marshmallow, we're gonna come back and give you 2. So you double your benefit if you wait. And they did it again quite recently. And there's an amazing video on YouTube of these kids like picking it up and sniffing it and like just doing everything they can not to eat this marshmallow. And some just ate it, and others just. And what it is, it's an experiment to see whether the kids could delay gratification to get a greater reward along the way. And in the experiment they did in the 60s, the ones that could put the extra work in, knowing that the reward was further down the line, were actually, and again, it depends on how you define success, but more successful than the ones that needed those immediate wins. And it goes back to what you say, Ross, that element of, can you put the work in now, knowing that you've got a longer term goal and aspiration? I think it's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sandra, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Sorry for the late join there, Chris.
That's
Sorry,
all right, no worries.
It all kicked off this morning, but no, good. No, I'm really well, thank you. Thank you for letting me join.
No worries. So it all kicked off, but you managed to get it sorted.
I'm upright, I'm dressed. It's fine.
That's always a good start to a Friday, right? If you're upright and dressed, it's good.
It's fine. What more could you ask for, really?
A little bit more, but we're getting there. Tell both the group and the guys on the Zoom a bit about you.
Hi, I'm Sandra Connington from Sandra Connington HR. I do HR for small to medium-sized businesses, trades, and I also look after schools and academy trusts all in the southeast. I have an amazing team that works for me. So there is mainly me, but I've got another couple of people that work for me as well. But so yeah, I do HR, and so if anybody needs any help with all this lovely legislation around furlough and all of that, happy to help where I can.
Is that where the greatest challenges are at the minute with people just adapting to furlough? Yeah, absolutely.
Because I tried, there's a couple of WhatsApp groups that I'm a member of, and I try to put as much information as I can up there, to be quite honest, Chris. But yeah, that's one of the big challenges for small businesses at the moment, is trying to keep afloat and trying to use these sort of the furlough. What does it mean? What does it mean for me? Can I do this? When does it end? There's lots and lots of questions around furlough.
Can you give me a bit of an overview of how the furlough scheme's changed from lockdown 1 to lockdown 2? Has it been extended until March now?
Yeah, it's extended until the 31st of March.
Okay.
So anybody that you've had on payroll up until the end of October, you can put them on, whether they were on furlough before or not, really. So if you've got any new starters since the last furlough scheme, you can put them on as long as they were on a live, if you like, a live payroll up until the end of October. So you still have to contribute the tax and national insurance element, the employer element for that, but it is the full 80%. It's not the, as it was before, the 60%, the 70%, whereas it was starting to scale down. It's the full 80% again now. So yeah, it's right through until the 31st of March now.
Okay, that's good. And the work you do with schools, what challenges are schools facing at the minute that are particular to that sector? Yeah,
it's massive at the moment because they've got to have what they call bubbles. So you've got to have kids all in the same, for like secondary schools, each of the year groups is a bubble. And before, when the bell rang and they all moved around the classrooms, it doesn't happen anymore. It's the teachers that move around the classrooms now and the children stay put. So it's to try and, if you like, negate as much of cross-contamination as they possibly can. Plus, the big challenge is keeping either children in school or the teachers in school because of infection rates. They're always having to send either a child home and at the minute a child is infected, they've got to send a whole bubble home. So that could be a whole year group, plus all the teaching staff that go with it. So the big challenge is having enough teachers in school to teach the children.
To carry on running the school.
Yeah, because everybody, you know, they've got to be sent home. Then there's the whole challenge around online teaching. So teachers that are self-isolating can still log on and do Google Classroom, so they're doing teaching from home. But if the teacher has been sent home and the children haven't, you still have to have an adult in the classroom while the teacher's at home teaching. So it's almost, you've got to have two teachers for every classroom at the moment.
Yeah.
So
which puts the pressure on a bit.
Yeah, and then you've got the little schools, you know, you've then got the sort of primary, so the secondary schools, it's a huge challenge. For the primary schools, it's an even bigger challenge because they don't have the capacity to have, if you like, spare staff. You know, the bigger the school, the more staff you have. But the smaller schools, you might only have, you know, 6 teachers in a whole school. Yeah. And if a bubble goes down, you're stuffed, really. So
well, I'm hoping. I mean, I've already admitted how rubbish a homeschool teaching dad I am. Right? I've already said that today, so I'm just hoping that Sophie's bubble doesn't go down, because I'm just like, I don't know what I'll do. That would be on Cats, I think. We had a conversation just before you got on. Hi Tracy, how you doing? I can see you on the camera.
Yeah, how you doing? All right.
Yeah, good. We were having a conversation earlier on, Sandra, about the traits and attributes you need to be a business owner. Now, how long have you been in business?
Oh gosh, a long time, really. Yeah, I haven't had a proper job for a long time.
I think I'm a bit unemployable now, to be honest. I've got to that point. I mean, I'm 10 years in, but I'm a bit unemployable. What traits and skills do you think you need to be a good business owner?
To me, I know I just joined in a conversation I think you were having around keeping focused and having plans. I think it's so key to have plans and a goal. Definitely have your goals. Be very clear on what you're trying to achieve and keep focused on that. It's absolutely, you know, and it's so easy. And I think, I don't know who it was earlier was saying, it's so easy just to go and do stuff for somebody else. You know, it's just quicker to do it myself. Actually, it's not. You know, train people to do their job, get people focused. If the business is clear on what they're trying to do, the people will be clear on what they're trying to do. So your teams will be clear. So have a strong plan, have your goals and go for it. I think that is absolutely, keep focused, really. And if you need help, reach out for it, you know, because business owners feel they've got to have, you know, stick their Superman pants on. It's got to be every man for every situation, and you don't. You know, they've got people like you as well, Chris. You know, reach out to the experts. Don't try and be an expert in everything, because you can't be that. You know. Yeah,
I think that's probably the biggest lesson that I've learned. You know, that. The economies are built with specialisms in mind, right? You know, we're designed to be really good at something very specific, and for you, it's helping business owners, you know, get to a point where they know their people are working as effectively as possible and meet some of these challenges. For me, it's about making sure that people are clear on their own personal financial goals and making sure the business is helping them achieve that, and just getting clarity on all of their money, but use that expertise, because it's what we do every day, right? And that's the reality of it. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Tracy, how are you?
Oh, we're okay.
No, you don't sound entirely sure.
No, I've got to go into hospital tomorrow. So
no, sorry to hear that.
I've got a few challenges.
Okay, no, fair enough. Well, hopefully you get on okay at hospital. Tell us a bit about your business.
So I'm a website designer. I've been a website designer for 15 years now. So sorry, my challenge is my voice. I've damaged my vocal cords.
Right.
And I can do website support, website builds, search engine optimization. So to give you an example, last night a customer who I've never met messaged me to say that he had deleted the whole of his website, e-commerce website, from the server. So I then had to load WordPress, log into his cPanel, load the WordPress back on.
Was it there? He hadn't lost it permanently, no?
No, so what happened is he'd built a new website and he was trying to launch his new website over his old website. So he'd been messaging me during the daytime, and before he launched it, I said to him, please make sure you do a backup.
He did.
Right. So he backed up his old website and he backed up his new website. Then he messaged me at 9 o'clock at night saying that, oh my God, I've broken it. I'm now getting a 404 error. So I said to him, okay, I'll look at it. So I looked at his staging site and that was still alive. So I logged into that and did a download, back that up, because I thought, oh my God, he doesn't want to be losing that as well. And then I tried to log into his old site and I was just getting nothing, just a blank screen with a couple of lines, white line. So I then logged into his cPanel and I said to him, you've completely deleted your old website.
Oh,
your WordPress is gone, everything's gone. So I loaded on WordPress for him. I created him a new database. I then put on migration plugins. And then he couldn't transfer the file to me because it was nearly 8 gigabytes.
Right.
Okay.
Too big.
Yeah.
So what was the outcome, Tracy? Did you manage to get him sorted and get him back on?
Yeah. So this morning I checked his website and it's up and live.
Yeah, especially for an e-commerce website, you don't want to be down, do you? That's the thing.
Massive website.
And out of interest, you know, we were talking earlier about the traits that you need to be a good business owner. You've been in business longer than me. What traits do you think you need to be a good business owner?
Oh God, I think going the extra mile. I think really. I think as a business owner, you really. So, for instance, with this guy, he's been messaging me all day. Okay, so and I was just helping him. It wasn't about charging him, you know, I was working and the phone was next door to me and I was just telling him little bits of information. Okay.
Yeah.
But he wanted to do it himself. Fine. I'll let him do it himself. So I think you just need to go that extra mile. I think you just need to help people. You know, if you've got income, it's difficult if you haven't got income coming in. Okay. But if you've got income coming in, I think it's, you know, it's just part of being human to just help people.
I think the interesting thing, and we have it in our business, it's about just investing in that relationship, you know, so that when it does get to a point where you need to charge for work, and again, I think you've got to be careful about giving too much for free. Otherwise, there's an expectation that people get it for free. But investing in that longer term relationship, so when it gets to that point, you know that they're the person you want to trust. But I mean, probably similar to you, Tracy, our business is all about trust. You know, it's if you're gonna trust somebody to help look after your life savings, that relationship needs to be there, doesn't it? So it's really important. So we've had a question from somebody who wanted to jump on. So I'm just going to read their comment on the live. So this is from Grant McMaster, who's been quite active on the group. So he said, good morning, I'm Grant, 19 in university, and I'm interested in politics and business. Ross, I think this might be one for you, mate. Great work, Chris and co. If I could ask a question, it would be, what do local businesses expect from the council/government, and how can the local government help drive enterprises like yours? Brackets, great work, very inspiring. Don't suck up too much, Grant. I don't like it. All right, that's just taking it a step. No, thank you for the compliment. I really appreciate it. So, what do we think? I think we're going to go over to Ross on this one. What do we expect from the local authority? I mean, if I'm talking personally, it's actually not very much. but I suppose all businesses are different, right? So what do you, in your experience through working with businesses through the paper, what connection and what benefits can we have from working with local authorities?
I think they just need to be generally more supportive. Our local council, Havering, have done a number of things over the last couple of years which could be seen as against the businesses, especially the high streets. Things like the 30 minutes free parking, the removal of that, and the return of it, but under different rules and whatnot. So I think just generally, I think the biggest thing the local authorities could do is listen to the businesses. I don't think the businesses and the council have a great relationship necessarily. There's been a lot of examples where certain business owners have addressed their concerns, presented their concerns to the council, and they probably fell on deaf ears. I just think the council doesn't help itself. It presents itself as pro-business, but then has to, they say they have to make tough decisions. Well, tough decisions seem to be affecting our local businesses too much.
Right.
Yeah. But, there's different things they could do. Let's be honest. We was discussing some bits yesterday. We could Havering Business Awards are no longer around. I think the council could maybe get them back up and running. I'm sure they could support whoever, maybe even yourself, Chris, to create something. But yeah, there's a number of things. I think they just need to start listening to the businesses. That would be a great start.
I mean, it's an interesting one, isn't it? So, I think a business like ours that isn't retail, and where we're in a position where we've got a number of core clients that we look after. We've got space, we've got office space that we use. Not this space, this is my shambles of a home office. I haven't read all of those books, by the way. But where our clients, we don't need a high street presence to actually attract clients. But if you're on the high street, you can't get parked. That's a challenge, right?
Yeah, it definitely is a challenge. The footfall has dropped dramatically in certain parts of the borough, where people would just stop off to get some lunch quickly, or a newspaper, or prescription, or they would just go, okay, we'll quickly just park in here for for 10 minutes. You get 30 minutes free, and we'll quickly run in there.
It just stopped people doing that. Yeah.
Stop. And we've seen some of the oldest businesses in Havering close down recently.
Yeah, it's difficult, guys. I don't know who to open this up to, but where does a local authority get involved in business? Where do you see that intersection? Phil, you're sort of, would there be any support that you'd expect from the local authority or the council, or wouldn't you?
Well, I was going to say, I think especially when you're talking local authorities and council, obviously, as we kind of said, you're largely, I guess, your immediate reaction is you're talking about retail, bricks and mortar businesses in the area, because I guess that in terms of direct interaction with the council, obviously you're kind of talking about like business rates, sort of like relief, and obviously support, and obviously when you're talking about access to free parking to make accessibility the highest that they possibly can. So I guess that the kind of the bricks and mortar businesses in retail on the high streets and things like that, they're going to be your biggest, I guess your immediate response. But I guess also though, when you're talking about either whether it be online businesses or offline, obviously you're probably talking about support in terms of information, where you can get access to things, making things, accessible to business owners, so they actually know what. Because I guess, especially if you're new business owners, or if you're not been in things, you don't necessarily know where to go for certain things. You don't know what the actual help is available to you, so you assume there isn't. So you carry on in your merry way, expecting that you haven't got help and access, and then 2 years down the line you happen to speak to someone else who did know, and you're sort of like, oh, if I'd known that would be really useful.
Is that centralised resource to say, starting a new business, here's what you need to know, and here's what you need to do, right?
Yeah.
That sort of, yeah.
And funnily enough, I think more so than the local council. I think you probably find that financial institutions are probably doing a better job of realizing that actually that's what their customers and, you know, the marketplace needs as business, because you've seen obviously like big banks and things like that opening up, you know, resources for, okay, if you want to get training on this, we've got, you know, access to, you know, client portals if you've got things like that. And obviously financial institutions like yourself, where they're service providers, actually saying, if you don't know about this, you're going to start actually actively trying to put information out there. So I think actually being, you know, resources where people not kind of handouts or leg ups, or actual access to information and useful resources that people can apply and use themselves.
Look, I think as business owners, knowledge is power, isn't it? You know, it's that having that knowledge to go, right, what action can I take?
Because it enables you to make informed decisions. That's what it is.
Agreed, 100%. 100%. Still not doing burpees. So, thank you. Look, I'm going to get a T-shirt saying "exempt from burpees," just so we know. How are you? Thanks for joining us.
I'm very well. Sorry, I was catching up on some other things, so for the late arrival.
No worries.
I was quite interested about what you've just been talking about. So I'm just wondering whether we could sort of draw some points up, maybe the sort of things that the local business community would want. And if you like, I don't know whether he'll listen to me, but I'll put it forward to Damien.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that he is not the most loved and proactive person in the bar. I totally get that. But my view is, if there is a need and we can see that they can help us, then it won't do us any harm in asking.
So it's really funny because I was having a chat. Rose and I had a little sort of one-to-one yesterday, and I expressed my opinion about the reason that I don't get involved in politics that much is because of I don't do well with committees particularly well. But I agree. I think if we had a consensus of thinking about what, as a business community, we need, having a conversation doesn't hurt, right? You know, having a conversation and finding out what the council can do to support us might be the way to go. So thanks for that, Sue. So just so I know, you're not in Spain at the minute. You're at home, aren't you?
Yeah, we're actually allowed to go out now. We're on our like 3rd day of freedom now.
Oh, cool. Oh, so you've gone. So you've gone through your quarantine section, and now you're back.
And now we've gone into lockdown 2. So excuse me. So now we've gone into lockdown 2, which is nice.
Do you want to tell everybody about your business?
Well, actually, I was going to say, going on from that, I've got roped in to do look after the membership and things, and on the executive for Hornchurch and Upminster Conservatives.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying to you, if there is something out there that the businesses need, then I would do my best to push it for you guys, because I run a small business, and before that I used to do the business banking for Bank of Scotland, and I used to walk the patch all round about 8 different wards. So you understand that actually there is a lot of help that people need. But as the other guy, sorry, don't know your first name, said that it's not about handouts. Often it's about knowing where the help is and how to access it.
Do you think the local authority could do more? I'm not convinced local authorities are amazing at communication, probably at the best of times, but do you reckon they could do more to, as Phil said, package up, if you were starting a new business? And I think I read somewhere a couple of years ago that Havering was for business startups, it's quite a big area that happens. Do you think the local authority could do more with just having all the information that a new business needs to know in one place?
I don't know where, I've never really accessed it, to be honest, from my own personal point of view, but I'm wondering whether there's a lot for the startups, but then when you get beyond that period,
bigger,
it all sort of tends to drop off.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
That's where there's a bit of a gap. You really want support all the way through, don't you?
Yeah, you do. You do. So we're coming up to 9 o'clock.
I'll join another time and do my spin on that. That's fine.
No. Thanks for joining us, Sue, and your input's really useful. And I'll talk to you a little bit about maybe potentially using this group as a conduit to have a chat with the council about what we can do to drive Havering business forward. That'd be really useful.
Absolutely.
Amazing. First of all, Julie on the chat has decided to talk about me doing a charity challenge. Julie, I'm up for it if you are. No answer. Absolutely no answer. So I'll wait for the answer for that, Julie. And before we go, let's just do our normal Friday thing, and we'll put this on the group a little bit later. Wins of the week. So Tracy, Ross, what's been your biggest win this week?
So I've made various useful contacts which will help me push forward one of the campaigns I'm looking to launch this week. It's one of these things. It started as I had a dream, and now I'm trying to make it a reality. And then to do that, I've got to speak to a lot of people, and I've made some useful contacts this week. So
great stuff. That's really good. Phil?
So yeah, so I guess for me, it's actually, you know, this week for me, it's really been kind of able to take a kind of concept and actually see it's kind of come through and starting to work, and actually be able to interact with you know, people in the community that actually you know, really enjoying the service I'm providing, and yeah, so it's nice to take something and make it kind of a bit more tangible, and this week kind of felt like that for me.
Great stuff. Sandra, what was your biggest win this week?
Well, I've got quite a few, but
cool.
But for me, one of mine is I've been asked to put in a proposal to look after a number of clients in London in a group of schools. So that's going to be an amazing opportunity if that happens. So we'll wait and see. Watch this space, I think.
Amazing, great stuff. Tracy, what's been your biggest win?
I have had an amazing week, really, of just helping people, businesses, small businesses that I think have gone the extra mile to do things outside the COVID period. And I've just been lucky enough to help them do that.
Great stuff. Yeah, there's been, I mean, the business community in general has stepped up, haven't they, really? You know, and really like tried to support people in a big way. Julie, apart from just volunteering to get involved in the Burpee Challenge, what's been your biggest win?
Mm-hmm. I invested in me this week. Yeah, so decided to extend what I know. Yeah.
Cool. And you know what? You never, as a business owner, you never stop doing that, right? That's just like constant development, constant progression is really important. Andrew, what's been your big win?
Two smaller wins, really, to be honest. The first week in the office, you know, kind of yourself busy, learning to differentiate from home to the office and stuff like that. And the other one is my daughter has autism, so she actually visited the office for the first time this week as well. So that was a big thing for her. But yet, you know, she enjoyed the visit, and you know, so it was pretty awesome, really. Great
stuff. And Cass has just jumped on. Cass, how are you? She's only down the other end of the house.
I've just got back from the school run, so I thought I'd pop in and say hello to everybody, because I don't normally I'm not going to really get the opportunity to be in this group because mum duties, basically.
Mum duties are important. Did Sophie go off at school all right?
Yeah, she went in just fine. Non-uniform day today for children in need, so it was really nice to see them all dressed up and with their padsy ears on and everything. So all good.
Okay, and what's been your win of the week?
One not business related. I bought my new Christmas tree this week.
No, we've decided that. I mean, with Cass,
no.
Can we not have a domestic on the business page, please? This is just This is just taking it a step too far. Right,
No,
Christmas starts on the 1st of December. We've agreed.
No, right. We'll discuss this later. And the other thing is I'm getting there slowly but surely. And I'm going to be setting up a separate networking Zoom event at the start of December for the mums on this group. Just sharing stories and trying to connect with other small business in Havering who are also having the same struggles as me, juggling parenthood, school run, dinner time, everything in between, as well as running a business. So hopefully within the next week I'll have some news about that networking event that will be at the start of December.
Cool. That's a really good win. So thanks for sharing that. And we'll be doing a lot more. We'll be doing a lot more in Havering Means Business about connecting the right sort of people with the right sort of people as we move forward. So thanks for everybody for joining us. Kaz, can you put the kettle on? Because I'll be down to make myself a coffee in a minute. No, that's a no. I'm in so much trouble now. Thanks everybody for joining us. Have a lovely day, and we'll see you next week on the morning commute. See you later. And Charlotte's joined now. See you later. Bye.
Have a good day, everybody. Bye.
Have a good day. Bye.